It's beautiful weather. Love the weather. Yesterday was like gale force winds. That was interesting. So you can hear yourself speak the whole time?
Just a little
in the
bit.
microphone?
Yeah, just a bit. There's a little bit of feedback there
great.
for you.
Yeah.
So I've been stuck with Danielle the whole time, so it's been friggin' terrible. But hopefully we can go see a bit of Liverpool tonight and have some fun without her. We'll go out.
Not me. No, I literally just got in probably 4 hours ago, so I'm very
she's
tired.
half asleep.
Well, we've got people here who've come all the way from France, Scotland, London. So at this time, I'd just like to say a big thank you to everyone who's been here, first of all. Great effort. Thanks so much for coming, everybody. And it's been a really well-organised event by Monopoly Events, so a big thank you to those guys. Sponsored by Wrestling Travel. Now, we're going to run through with the ladies from the very start of their careers. So we'll start with yourself first. Tenille, if you'd like to let us know, how did you begin your career?
Usually we save the best for last, but it's fine. Okay, so my career, I started as a wrestling fan, just like all of you guys, so give it up for us wrestling fans. Woo! I was 13 years old when I first started training for wrestling. I moved to Calgary, Alberta, Canada when I was 19 on my own to train with Lance Storm. And then from then on, I basically traveled by myself around Canada, around the US, and around Australia, wrestling for independent promotions, meeting people, and doing everything I can to better myself as a wrestler. And in 2011, I went for a tryout at FTW, which is now basically NXT, and got myself a contract.
Wonderful. Excellent.
Short answer?
Short? Sarcasm?
It was good, I like it. Paraphrased, it got through everything. You're from Melbourne, Australia?
I'm from Melbourne, Australia, yeah.
Trained with Lance Storm.
Yeah.
Excellent. And Barbie, tell us, you're a gymnast, I believe?
Yes, yes, I was for many years, probably like 10 years. And then I was competitive cheerleader and a model. And when I was 19, WWE was looking for models that they could train to wrestle. They found me, and the rest is history.
And Danielle, I hear your wrestling career started, was it with Jerry the King Lawler?
Still waiting for my career. No,
She paid to be a wrestler.
Obviously, because I had a great push. Sorry, I'm forming a cough from the instant coffee. So I was living in Chicago, watched Monday Night Raw, loved it. Never heard of Tenille Dashwood ever. I was working at Comic-Con at Wizard World, and first of all,
Boring.
I'm going to murder you. Working at Comic-Con, this girl I was working with came back, said, oh, there's some guy here from WWF. And I was like, first of all, it's WWE. Never mess it up again. It was Jerry the King Lawler. I ran over on my break. I was wearing like a Captain America outfit. And I ran up. I said, I really want to be a WWE Diva. I've Googled it. I can't find out how to get in. What do I do? And he thought the boys were ribbing him because here I am in this little outfit. I gave him the rundown of the last couple weeks on Raw, which Kelly was actually on when I was watching at the time. And yeah, he told me you only had to train for 3 weeks and then you got to travel the world. So not much has changed with Lawler. He's still a liar. So funny. And so yeah, so then I was playing football, had a tryout at FCW, obviously got in because I'm really good. And the rest
And then I beat her
was
ass for the next 4 years.
Yes. I learned everything I know from Norman Smiley, not Tenille.
But wait, did anyone watch that first dance-off that Danielle and I had in NXT? Did anyone see that?
I apologize.
I was going to say, when you first got called up onto the main roster, you were working with Fandango, I believe?
Yes.
Would you like to
So
tell us?
that's where I realized, like, Tenille's really over in the United States, and I'm really over in the UK because of Fandango.
Wait, what?
In my head. So yeah, I actually debuted at the O2 Center. That was my debut with Fandango. And then when I came back from the Marine, it was at the O2 Center. So London holds a very special place in my heart, and the British fans definitely hold a special place in my heart because that's where I debuted.
Awesome. So we're going to speak a little bit about the Women's Revolution today. So obviously, in 2018, there was the women's only first pay-per-view, Evolution. And then this year, the main event at WrestleMania was the triple threat between the ladies. Which female and male wrestlers have influenced you guys in your careers? Who've been like your biggest influences, so to speak?
Okay, so when I was, I guess, I don't know, 16, 17, when I had already started training a little bit, some of my biggest you're talking about female influences? I would say was Trish Stratus and Lita. And so I had a poster of Lita on my wall, and I took a poster of Trish to my first ever personal trainer and said, I want to look like her. Yeah. And then I ended up like this somehow.
I was going to say, did I read somewhere on the internet that in 2002 you went to the global warming event in Australia and got to meet Trish?
I went to the airport. I was one of the fans that goes to the airport, and I met Trish when I was, it was 2002. Yeah, so how many years ago is that? 17.
17 years ago. That's awesome.
So I'm giving away my age, but I was 13 when I met Trish. And we have a photo together, and that was funny because at WrestleMania, when I guess, met her again as an adult, we got another picture. So it had like a before and after. It was really cool.
That is epic.
Really cool to see, starting as a fan and being able to live out my dream and look back on all these crazy times.
That's why you guys are all here today, to get to meet, the superstars. And I think, I'm sure there's some young faces in the crowd who might be in the same boat as yourself there, and potentially in the future we could have a superstar in our midst. It's him.
I think that's just a question.
Maybe in a moment. And sorry.
He's from Italy.
Oh, we'll get him a question. Don't worry, we will be doing some question answers in a few minutes' time as well. Kelly, tell us your influences.
I definitely have to agree with Tenille. Lita, Trish, Tori Wilson, Sable. I kind of tried to, watch all of them and just try and come into my own, and because I had no previous experience, and so when I came in, I really wanted to just be myself and bring some gymnastic moves and just a bunch of different stuff into what I was doing in my move sets and all that good stuff.
For me, I actually met Macho Man when I was in 5th grade. He was doing the Snap into the Slim Jim commercial. Eat me.
Yeah.
Eat me. I just wanted to say that part. Obviously I watched a little bit of him from meeting him early. Trish, of course, Molly Holly. And then when I started training, I watched a lot of Medusa because I thought I loved her hair drags and hair pulls, and I thought that was different. I always thought, because I was starting off brand new and so late in the game, it was hard to reinvent things. So I was trying to go back to tapes and things that girls weren't doing to try to do some new stuff. But it's hard. Everyone kind of does the same stuff. So, yeah, interesting. And then, of course, Dream, Dusty Rhodes. We all loved him. I don't have to watch female stuff.
She didn't listen to the question.
Don't put me in
very
a box. He said male or female. I hate you.
I've been working with Wrestling Travel this weekend, and we had a few questions coming through from some of the webpage peeps. They were wondering, we had a few random ones I will mention, but one of them that I thought was quite interesting. Easy, quick fire one. Favorite cheat meal?
Tenille will give you a list. She's a foodie. You love food, but you don't eat cheats a lot because you're very healthy and you work out.
Just stop right there.
Mine's pizza, I guess, pizza, mozzarella sticks, brownies. We had
Ice cream,
We had the brownies
chocolate.
from over there the other day. It was great. The sparkle brownies.
I love French fries, chicken nuggets, McDonald's.
Chicken breast. No. Just kidding. What do you like? I just added to your list: chocolate, ice cream, sticky toffee pudding.
What did you just have behind the scenes before we walked out?
I didn't have anything. Let's move along.
Okay, just a quick one then. Wrestling-wise, what is your favorite ever wrestling match? It can be male or female. What's the one that's that you've watched?
Oh, okay. I don't even know.
Well, can I say my favorite one I've been in then?
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
I'd have to say me and Beth Phoenix at SummerSlam 2011. I was Divas champion, and my mom was there, a lot of family, and the crowd was amazing, and that had to be one of my favorite matches.
As far as matches that I was in, I would say NXT Arrival when I faced Paige. I think that was a really special moment for me, and that's when I started the evolution myself. And then more recently, actually NXT TakeOver in London when I faced Asuka. I loved that match. And then again, round of applause, woohoo! Oh yeah, give it up for me. Love this. And then I'm listing a lot of matches, but then I'll just say the more recent match with Asuka as well at the pay-per-view I had right before I left. That was a good one for me as well.
Yeah, for me, I love the stuff we did in NXT with the BFFs, having a double seg with Paige. I think we were actually the first females match that was a double seg on TV, so that was really cool. We just beat each other's ass. And then I loved working Sasha on the main roster, I will say. It was only on main event. We had 2 matches, but we both put it together really differently, and she pushed me outside of my box, so we always kind of wish we had a program. She asked for us to have a program a couple of times, and it just never went through. But yeah, both of those. And I love working Natty.
Oh, of course.
I
Awesome.
don't know why I sound.
I was going to ask, you guys obviously get to travel a lot all around the world. Where's one of your favorite places to perform? Where'd you like to visit?
I thought when we went to Germany, it was really cool because you know how you chant during the football matches and you chant the names of people? In America, no one really does that. So in Germany, they did that all the time. And it was like me, I think it was me, Dolph Ziggler, Tyler Breeze, and I think I was just valeting. So it was a bunch of blondes, and they love that in Germany. So I was really over, so I love that.
I would have to say probably Madison Square Garden. It's like the Mecca, in the U.S., and that was just the most amazing place to perform for sure.
I didn't like performing at Madison Square Garden. I like Liverpool, woo! Cheap pop, woo!
Awesome. I'm going to ask now, a lot of the people we've had up have told road stories, some of their favorite stories, the things they've done while they've been on the road. Have you guys got any interesting stories you'd like to tell us? Anything hilarious that's happened or that you'd like to tell us about?
So Summer and I traveled on the road together for 4 years or something.
The best years of your life.
I got stuck with her for 4 freaking years. And I just think it's interesting, because obviously she talks a lot, we all know that. And there would often be times where she'd be driving and she'd be talking away for 3 hours on the whole drive and basically not notice that I hadn't said a word in 3 hours.
Yeah, you're welcome. I passed the time. I think some of my best memories on the road were definitely not with Tenille. Mine were actually with Dutch. Zeb Coulter and I were really good friends, which people thought was a very odd pairing. And it was something about just traveling with him. Him and Kane would always sit at the front of the bus on the European tour. And when I got called up, a girl hadn't been called up in a year and a half. And now girls are kind of called up frequently, you know, every 3-4 months, maybe 2 months even. So when I first came up, kind of got picked on and hazed a little bit. Are we allowed to say that? I don't know. And so I got locked in the bathroom of the tour bus in Europe. Jack Swagger locks me in the bathroom of the tour bus, and Big Show and Kane and Zeb found out, and they were like, just sit up here with us. We'll teach you how to play gin rummy, which is like the ancient game of all the grandpas. And so, yeah, I learned, you know, Kane and the Big Show taught me how to play gin rummy, and Dutch always told me, if you hang out with me, no one will think you're sleeping with any of the boys. And it was true. I played it safe hanging out with Dutch, and he's a sweetheart. I love him.
I don't know. Yeah. No. I was known in the locker room to be very messy. Like my bag, I would leave all my crap everywhere, and all the girls would hate it. And, you know, I felt really bad a lot of times, but I didn't, you know, whatever. One day, Vicky Guerrero decided to put some fake cockroaches in my bag, and I walk over to my bag, and I'm going through it, and I, like, throw something, and there's, like, a handful of these cockroaches, and I screamed, and I was like, oh, my God, and all the girls were, like, dying, laughing, and Vicky's like, see, this is why you don't leave your bag open, and, you know, so it was a good shot at me.
I thought you were going to say someone shit in your bag. That wasn't you. That was somebody else. Am I breaking rules? And let's move on.
I was going to ask, on the current roster, who would you most like to face at this present time? If you could get anyone in the ring today, who would you want to take on?
Okay, so yesterday, some of the books that I was signing, actually don't know which one it is, but there's a picture of me, and I have Becky Lynch in a hold, and it was after WrestleMania 32, I believe, and we'd come from a loss, and the next day I had a singles match with Becky Lynch, and I beat her on that, and unfortunately, right after it, that's when I had my back injury. So I posted this yesterday, said unfinished business, because her and I never got to have the feud that we were supposed to have. And I thought that would be really cool if I could get in the ring with Becky Lynch and finish that off.
I would definitely say Charlotte. I think she's an amazing competitor. I think what she's done for women's wrestling is insane. I just adore her, and so she's definitely a dream opponent.
And I would say Sasha. We're still good friends. We talk a lot, and we really had great chemistry. When we got in the ring, it was just really easy, and it was fun, and I liked her matches, and I don't like anything I ever really did. So yeah, I would say Sasha.
Okay, wonderful. In a moment, we're going to open it up to some questions from the audience. First of all, I'd just like to ask you guys, so what are you up to at the moment? When you head back from the UK, what are you working on projects at the moment?
Well, as far as wrestling goes, I've been off for about 6.5 months now. I had a shoulder surgery. So I'm about to get back in the ring soon. I'm actually a free agent right now, so that's exciting. And we're in the midst of arranging some UK tours and some European tours. So I'll be back over this way, hopefully end of July, and again in September as well. So hopefully I'll be wrestling in front of all you guys soon.
Awesome. Look forward to seeing you.
I'm just gonna get home and sleep. I don't know. Just gonna see what life in LA has for me. I have some signings coming up next month, and so yeah, just hanging out.
So Tenille and I are actually staying in Europe another week, and we're traveling. So she actually really loves me. Don't believe any of her BS. She planned the whole trip for me.
She's following me to Turkey.
She begged me to go to Turkey with her, so I'm very excited because I feel wanted. And then I just moved. I don't really do a lot of things. People ask us that all the time, like, what are you doing now? And I always want to just look at people and be like, nothing really. Because when you walk in a store and they're like, how are you doing today? If you actually like unloaded all of your baggage onto someone, like no one really is asking you that question. But so I'm doing a bunch of different things. Just bought a home, been decorating that, doing signings, modeling, hosting, same old jazz, being happy, having a healthy body for once in my life.
Awesome. Well, that is a good thing. I'm going to hand it over to Kieran now, who's going to ask a few questions from the audience for you guys. So,
Make him good.
is he not? I'll trade you, Kieran.
You really messed this all up, didn't you? You really mucked it up. That's right, muck it.
What was that guy from before? Who got his hand up before? This gentleman over here.
Hello, I'm Frank from Italy.
Frank from Italy, you gave me a cake yesterday, didn't you,
Yes.
Frank?
Frank comes bearing gifts. Anyways.
No, you didn't get one, I did.
I know, way to tell everyone, jeez.
What do you think about Fabulous Mula?
I love Moolah. So when I was in the FCW and we were working with Dusty and Dream, Rob Naylor, I don't know if anyone knows who that is, but he was Dream's assistant. He actually burns a lot of old school, like that's why I was watching Medusa, because he would burn CDs with her. Moolah was on there. Sensational Sherry. I'm trying to think of like who else was there. So I think it's really important for us to watch things really from the past because I don't think people dig that deep. But bake me a cake next time. I'm mad at you.
Having a good work out there, Kieran. Keep going, son. Got someone over there for you next.
Oh, where are you going? What's
Going
happening?
on
Hey,
tour.
hi.
In the ring? He's getting in.
What's happening?
He has dared me to do this, okay?
Oh gosh.
But
Okay.
first off, hello, ladies.
Val Venus?
Well done. Really bad impression.
You are not Val Venus, buddy.
Don't drop the mic.
Go on.
You know the rules.
Okay, so you can see from my t-shirt, I'm a CM Punk fan, and that is because I'm a bit of a rebel. I like the people who don't play by the rules. I was wondering what your opinions were on people like CM Punk, and most recently Ronda Rousey breaking kayfabe, so going on Instagram and putting pictures
Really?
about wrestling being fake, etc. I was thinking, do you like that, or do you prefer them to be more in tune? Obviously, because professional wrestling and contact sports do different things, so.
First of all, that sounded like your Tinder profile. You're like, I'm a rebel who likes other people who are rebels. And I dig it. I love CM Punk. I lived in Chicago. That's where I played lingerie football for 7 years. I always was cool with AJ Lee. I actually would love. AJ wanted to work me a little bit towards her end. I loved her. Love Punk. I think it's important for people to speak up. I think I definitely didn't get as far as maybe I should have because I didn't. I really played by the rules and I always stayed in my lane. And that's just the kind of person that I am. So if that means I don't get further or if I don't get certain opportunities, then that's just my path. And there's, maybe another path for me, but I definitely think being cutthroat pays off. And as far as Rhonda goes, I think, or some people think it was fake kayfabe, like she broke kayfabe for the story.
I
it was
literally
a work.
just told her that, not some people. I
thought you weren't gonna say it.
Well, I didn't think you were either.
Oh. Well, she whispered. I mean, you guys read the dirt sheets, But I think
maybe it was made out to be breaking kayfabe, but it's pretend breaking kayfabe.
Right.
So it got you.
Like when you actually break kayfabe and you're like Lana and you go to TMZ and like talk about like that's real break kayfabe because Vince will pull a storyline. So like when you fake break kayfabe and you get rewarded, I feel like that's maybe a little different. But I don't know. Total Divas breaks kayfabe. Like it's just we're called the reality era, I guess, is what they're calling us now, which is cool. But yeah, so I guess there's a lot of things, and unfortunately, it's not the same as it used to be. Like when Tenille and I, especially when Barbie was there, but when we came in, it was kind of towards the end, but you still had the handshakes and the respect, and the rookies would get there an hour before call time. Like that still was very much alive with us. When now it's kind of a little different. So yeah, it is what it is, I guess.
Got one. First line of sight, you're next.
Hi, ladies. My question is to Tenille mainly because it's to do with it's to do with just after you left WWE, they did Super Showdown in Melbourne. So were you gutted at the timing of that?
Right? That just seemed like a slap in the face, doesn't it? That's my honest opinion. It felt like a bit of a slap in the face because the showdown was in Melbourne, Australia, which is literally my hometown. And to perform in front of that many people would have been a dream of mine. Unfortunately, I had just been released, so I didn't get to do that show. But I have wrestled in Australia, so I'm thankful for that. And I'm thankful for all the opportunities I got to wrestle around the world, and that's how we got here. So I'm very thankful for that.
Great question.
Hiya. So obviously when you think of great female wrestlers, for me, Chyna comes to mind. So did she play any inspiration for any of you girls? And did any of you get any chance to meet her?
I agree. Chyna is badass.
Because she hasn't really been mentioned much. There's been a lot of female wrestlers that have been mentioned. Like yesterday. And for me, I thought, well, I think we need to give Chyna a shout out.
Totally, I'm
wrestlers.
100% with you. She's a badass. I think maybe the reason maybe I didn't mention her or think of her in that context, what we were speaking about, is because I could never be as badass as her. So I didn't compare myself to Chyna, but for sure, she was amazing. She kicked ass with the guys in there, and I love that.
Yeah, none of us, I assumed Barbie had met her, but none of us met her. But yeah, like when she was with DX, actually when I first debuted with Fandango, they weren't gonna keep me with him. They put the dancer girl with him when they came back to the States. It was a couple weeks. And there was a couple reasons, but Triple H actually said something to me. He wanted me to watch a lot of Chyna when she was valeting for them, because he was like, I feel like you could learn from her, and how like her eyes are always on him. It's because Chyna was such a big personality, and she was such like a force to be reckoned with. And a valet you don't want to take away from the guy you're with. So I think they were a little worried I was going to take away from Dango because it was like at the height of his push. So Hunter actually told me to watch a lot of her stuff, which I did. So that was cool, and that was cool that he could still, see how much influence she has and know that like a lot of us could learn from her.
It's a great question. Let's hear it one more time for Chyna. Come on.
Got one more. This guy at the back.
You're right there. I'm 6'1" and overweight. Oh, sorry, that's Tinder. I'll turn that off. My question is obviously back in the past you had Triple H and Stephanie McMahon caused a lot of stir in the locker room when they hooked up together. In your time in wrestling, was there any couples that hooked up and you were like, say what?
So he's just looking for juicy stuff.
Exactly.
Are you gonna say that? I'm not saying it. I'm no commenting.
Was that during your time?
I'm not commenting.
And if you want, I don't really care.
No, I don't think anyone was like surprised. Like I never dated anyone in the locker room, but I understand why people did. I mean, we spend more time with each other than our families, and you get to travel the world, and you get to, The only thing I wouldn't like about it is when you go in the car for 3-4 hours. Like Tenille and I would talk about wrestling and the match and everything for an hour, but then we would try to turn it off. Like we'd try to put music on or something because it's so easy to just obsess and escape and like pick apart yourself. And I think that's really unhealthy for any kind of job. So that would be the only thing about dating someone in the business that you can never.
Juicy. I don't know.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I love Natty and TJ together. Like, I thought they were adorable, and I understood their dynamic.
Okay, what about? I think when Lana and Rusev first got together, I was like, "What the hell?" So maybe that
and
one of
I was
those
already in the
moments.
main roster when that happened because I was in NXT.
I was in
right?
NXT, and they used to do promos together when Dusty would take our class, and they started doing promos, and they just hit it off, and it was kind of like, wait, this is actually a real thing. Like you guys are not just on camera, like behind the scenes. So they were like that since I can remember. So you know, an odd couple, I guess, that just a perfect match for each other.
And it seems like it works. Like Ty Dillinger. How long have they been engaged? Like, what?
Ty Dillinger and Peyton Royce are engaged, so that was something I guess not many people knew about for a long time, but they've been together for years as well.
Yeah. So I get it, you know.
Got time for one more, Kieran? Or
Yeah, why not? Who we got?
one last
He's
question,
right
guys?
next to you.
Rightio, ladies. You mentioned before about Total Divas and scripted reality shows that are a thing in the UK at the moment. Is that something that you would like to do again, or is that something that can broaden your horizon of different things, projects that you could possibly do?
I mean, I enjoyed being on. I was on a show called Wags, and I think it airs over here. And I really enjoyed it. I had a good time with it. So I would definitely be open to doing something like that again. I think, especially in the era that we're in right now, reality shows are what people want to see. People want to see how we are in real life and what our everyday lives are. And I enjoy sharing that with the world. So yeah, I would definitely do that again.
My take on that, not that I have really been in that position, that is maybe not with your show either, but a lot of reality shows are not really reality. And for me, and maybe this kind of, I guess, is an example of something you experienced, but for me, I want to be perceived as who I really am, and I think it's important for me to connect with you guys on a more personal level and show things that are important in my life, and not just be like, oh, you're supposed to do this and that and this scene, and I'm like, I don't want to do that. Like I want to be myself, and I want to do what I want to do. So I mean, in a situation maybe where a show was a real reflection of you in a real setting, then sure, I'd be open to that.
And then for me, with I think my biggest thing with Total Divas is I was actually opposite of that. It was really hard for me to show my real life, though I put a million Instagram stories up a day. I'm actually like very private. So I'm one of those people where I make you think you know everything about me, but you like actually don't know anything about me at all. So I rather had like played a part. So when Vince suggested my name for season 2, I mean, how high? Like Vince tells you to jump, let's do it. Especially I was, only on the roster for 2 months, so I'd never say no to Vince. And then I was like, sure, I'm the new girl. I'll steal your man, let's do that. Cool, let's do it. And that was easier for me than like actually going on a real life date. Like going on a real date in real life gives me so much anxiety to the point where like before I'm about to go, I'm like, maybe I just shouldn't. Like I hate it. I hate like first dates. So to do it on national TV, I couldn't think of actually anything worse. So.
But in the same instance, people thought you were a bitch because of how she was portrayed on the show. And I mean, yes, she's annoying in real life, but that's not who you are. And so because of that show being scripted and she was playing a part on a show that you thought was reality, people thought that's how she really was. And that's just the opposite of what I'm saying is I wouldn't want to be that person.
So, and I assumed because people know that Raw and SmackDown are away, and then when I'm on Total Divas, I'm going through TSA, and the security ladies are like, oh, that's that girl. I'm just like, oh. But also, I think I'm good at my job. So I was Summer Rae on the show. I wasn't Danielle Moinet, so that's still kind of like my example. And I will say, Total Divas, a lot of things are very real. Like, all the relationships are real. Put people in a setting where they're drinking. You don't have to make anything up. Like, it will happen. So I'm not saying things were scripted or whatever. But for me personally, I rather life's a work, and that's a work. And that's why Natty and I always really got along together, because Natty was just raised in this business, the life's a work. So if I call her ugly and she tells me I have cellulite, afterwards we're like, that was awesome! Where most girls would be mortified, you know? But me and Natty were like, oh, that's so good, I hate you too, yay! So yeah, it's interesting. Example. And when I slapped her on Total Divas, that was not a work. She had no idea I was going to do it, and I feel so bad. It was my first day of filming, and from that point on, we never had any physicality unless we talked about it. So I got worked on that one. The producers were like, she'll be fine, this is what we do. And I was like, okay. And I showed up to her house and slapped her, which is god-awful. So hats off to Natty. She's a trooper. She's the best. I love Natty.
That is amazing, guys. Honestly, it's been an absolute honor to chat to you, ladies. Thanks so much for sharing so much with the audience today. Guys, big round of applause, please.